Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but it's kind of cool looking at stuff up close like this. You know, especially something as big as this cactus right here. You get to see all the enlarged features, doing some in situ learning right now. Anyway, what we got in front of us right now is Carnegie gigantea, aka the saguaro cactus. You know, it's one of them iconic desert symbols of the southwest of the United States. Pretty much exclusively found in Arizona, east of the Colorado River, although there are some populations in California, so I've read about. But I personally haven't seen a saguaro cactus in California unless it was like planted by somebody. I just read up on Wikipedia that the guy who named this thing named it after Andrew Carnegie, which was one of those rich billionaires or millionaires back in the day. Definitely would be considered a billionaire by today's standards. And I don't know why they did that. Like, what does Andrew Carnegie have to do with the morphological features or genetic attributes or whatever, anything biologically related to this species right here? I have no idea. I don't know. That's just my complaints about certain ways that scientists name things. Anyway, take a look at these spines. Wow. These spines aren't as sharp, but I guess they don't need to be because they're not like cholla. They don't use that dispersion by animals type technique that a lot of cactus or a lot of chollas use. But if you look at each node, by the way, each one of those nodes is called a areole or areolus, or is areolus for nipples? Is areola or areolus? I can't remember. I think areolus is what we call our nipples. Anyway, it does kind of resemble a nipple, at least there at the hub, at the very hub in the center of all those spines. But yeah, you could tell the difference between cactus species by how many spines come out of the areolus. And as you can see on this saguaro, there's quite a lot of them. Looking on the outer surface of this individual too, you can see that it looks like there's a lot of damage. And I don't know if that's necessarily damage or like damage from the sun or something like that. But, you know, it might be dying cells. But I don't know if that necessarily constitutes as damage to the plant. If anything, it might be protection, because you can see that there's some like light green spots here, and then there's some kind of like scabbing right here too. And I wonder if that scabbing actually helps cool the plant down, because apparently in plants, when it reaches a certain temperature, a certain high temperature, you can't photosynthesize anymore. You notice that a lot of cacti have these grooves too. They have these grooves, and I think that helps with collecting water. So when it rains, whenever it rains, as the rain's hitting this plant, it's gonna hit this plant and kind of fall down these grooves, and then these grooves are gonna lead the water basically straight to the base of the plant where the roots are. So it basically funnels all that water down to its roots. And this ain't the only cactus that does that too. A lot of cacti have these grooves in their stems and everything. I wonder if this right here is damaged from like a woodpecker or something like that. Or you know what else it could have been? Could have been some asshole shooting a gun at this thing. You know, I don't put it past any human being to do something stupid out in the desert. I've seen evidence of many examples of delinquent activity in the desert. A lot of them involving firearms. Yeah, I wonder what lives in the rhizome of this. The rhizome, for those of you who don't know, the rhizome is basically the habitat that's on the surface of tree bark. I mean, this ain't a tree, but it still should have its own rhizome habitat. I mean, I would assume that a lot of things live on the surface of this thing, whether it be spiders or maybe other predatory insects. I mean, there's plenty of things that live inside the species of this cactus. Cactus wrens, woodpeckers, owls. Oh, you can see the fruits up there too. Some nice fruits with those spent flowers. I'm a little bit late in the summer right now. I didn't get a chance to see these things blooming. But anyway, you know, if you haven't noticed already from this saguaro, you might be able to tell that I'm in Arizona. just east of the Colorado River. Yeah, I'm back out here in the desert, just doing a little biologizing, kind of perusing around, seeing what's out here and everything. And this is pretty much my first time ever kind of hanging out in this type of desert habitat. I'm really not used to this, even though it's not much different to California. Literally the only difference that I'm seeing here with this desert versus the deserts in California are the presence of these saguaro cacti. But when it comes to the rest of the vegetation, you can find all this stuff in California, especially this right here, Laria tridentata, aka the creosote bush. And it pretty much has the same, well, almost the same uniform distribution as you would see in the deserts of the Mojave. By the way, we are not in the Mojave Desert, we are in the Sonoran Desert. Sonoran Desert, which extends all the way from eastern California into Arizona, and I think parts of Utah, although I could be wrong about that. I'm gonna have to double check myself. All right, so basically what I'm walking through right now is an ecosystem or habitat type that I basically just learned. Something called a microphyll woodland. So micro, that's micro like small, and then phyll, spelled P-H-Y-L-L, which is basically the Latin term for leaf. So it's basically like a small leaved plant woodland. So it's pretty much a bunch of small trees or really big shrubs, however you want to look at it, with really small leaves. And they can pretty much be found in a lot of desert ecosystems with a substantial amount of water during the rainy season, but not enough water to support, you know, really broad-leaved trees, large trees. And the plants out here have small leaves because when you have small leaves, you have a smaller surface area, which means you don't have that many stoma. Stoma are little pores on the undersurfaces of the leaves that basically allow for gas transfer and transpiration, so releasing water into the atmosphere. So if you don't have a lot of stoma, you won't lose a lot of water, yet you still have a leaf surface so you can photosynthesize effectively. So one example of one of those microphyll trees that I see right in front of us right here, this is Senegalia greggii, otherwise known as the cat claw acacia, in the family Fabaceae, which is the family of legumes, peas and whatnot. But yeah, let's take a closer look at it. So as I mentioned earlier, you know, we are out here in the summer, so the spring bloom is pretty much done and over with. So you're basically seeing the remnants of the flowers that used to be on this plant. They're either dry, died out, or basically transformed into fruits. Right here, you can see, I think this is this might be an aborted fruit here. Let me get into better light. There we go, much better. So, all right, you can see we got the fruits right here. Legume family, so it's got pea pod type of fruits, and in each one of those segments of that pod would be a seed. So these things, once they're fully mature, they'll dry up and that pod will split open, and then those seeds will disperse. All right, you can see right here, this is why they call it cat claw acacia. It's got those nice recurved spines. Yeah, if you run through this is gonna hold you back pretty effectively. Anyway, yeah, cat claw acacia, one of the many different species of woody shrubs or small trees, however you want to look at it, in this microphyll habitat area right here. Also on the Senegalia. So now I assume that there's probably some nectaries on these fruits. And dang, you look right there. We got some spider wasps in the family Pompilidae in the genus Pepsis. I don't know exactly what species there are. I know there's many different species of these, and they all look very similar. And yeah, it just goes to show you. Yeah, see, this is what they're eating. They're either eating nectar, pollen from flowers, nectar from flowers, or nectar from nectaries that can be found on trees such as this Senegalia. And they're not the only ones too. There's other organisms. Oh, right there, you can see right there. I don't know if it's in focus. You see, looks like we got a hair streak. A hair streak species. I think it's the great hair streak, I'm not sure. I think this is Strymon melanus, otherwise known as the gray hair streak. Pretty widely distributed butterfly in the southwestern US. Family Lycaenidae, which is the family of hair streaks and blue butterflies. Also known as the gossamer wing butterfly family. But you can see its proboscis sticking out, and it's like sticking out into that legume. So either it's like going into, I don't think it can actually excavate. I don't think butterflies can actually excavate with the proboscis, unlike the hemipterans. So I think that there's some glands on the surface of this fruit that's basically releasing sugars and allowing for this insect right here to feed. Let's see, these cat claws, man, they get into you and They like to hold on to you like a bad ex. Hold on, let me get myself unstuck here. Okay, all right, here we go. Yeah, they're just going crazy out here. So this is the party plant right here. This is bringing everybody to the party because it's got something to give everybody. But yeah, these Tarantula Hawks, you know, that's what they're doing. They're taking advantage of this nectar because it's a nice sugar source, got a lot of energy. And they'll use that energy to do what they do ecologically, which is go seek out tarantulas, sting them, paralyze them, drag the tarantula back to its own burrow, and lay an egg on it. And then the baby tarantula hawk will eat that spider and use that energy from that tarantula to develop into another one of these. Okay, moving on, looking at other party guests here on this Sialia right here. I don't know if you can see because it's kind of shady in there. Right there we have an example from the order Hemiptera, which is the order of true plant bugs, in the family Largidae, which are the common name of Largidae is bordered plant bugs, probably because they have that border right there on the pronotum. But this I think is Largus californicus, although I could be wrong. There are other species that look very similar to this, found all throughout the United States. Anyway, you can see right there it injecting its styloid haustellate mouth part into the epidermis of that pea pod right there, of that legume pod, and that's what it does. It's feeding. Ooh, caught in the act. You know, when there's a party on a plant, you know, a lot of good things happen, and fortunately for these two lucky individuals, you know, they got to link up. They're hooking up right now at the party. They're hooking up while eating. So I think the smaller one is the male, the larger one is the female. And yeah, they just taking advantage of the resources this Sialia has to offer, or that it's giving out right now. You know, having so much fun, why not have more fun, right? Okay, back to the Lepidoptera. Right here we have two individuals. I think it's something in the genus Lycaenus, maybe. It is Lycaenidae, the hair streak family, or the blue family, but I can't quite tell exactly what it is. I'm gonna have to look over this footage and add a caption right here for y'all to see. But Lycaenidae, again, using their little proboscis right there to kind of slurp up whatever nectar sources. Okay, so where you have herbivores, you also gonna have some predators. So right there, hopefully I don't spook it. I spooked one of these earlier. Let me see if I could get it in the sunlight. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now that bright, showy individual right there, I do not know the name of this species, but I do know that it's in the family Reduviidae, which is the family of assassin bugs, right? Also in the order Hemiptera, you can see right there at the front of its face, it's got that nice styloid haustellate mouth part, perfectly built for piercing the exoskeletons of other invertebrates or of other arthropods. You see also its forelegs right there. Its forelegs are the front legs. You notice they're like nice and buff. Raptorial legs would be the scientific way to explain those legs. And they're basically kind of used like praying mantis legs. They're nice and buff so they can grab whatever they're trying to eat and hold it steady while they pierce through it. And it just flew away. So my ADD is going crazy right now. I'm seeing all sorts of things on here, and I can't just point my phone at something and keep it there and talk about it because it's easily going to fly away. So I'm going to have to use my human ingenuity here and take a different approach, use a different method to show these things on camera. So give me a sec, hold on. All right, got my trusty vial right here, and let's go capture some things. Oh, here we go. Okay, all right. Now you might be wondering why I'm not using a net, and that's because using a net on this type of plant right here, it's just gonna totally trash my net. So I got to use a different method, which is why I got this vial right here. And you can see I got one of those Ceraunus, the family of longhorn beetles, and I'm pretty sure this is feeding on that nectar too. You can see it's got those nice longhorn antennae. Kind of got a little bit of a tomentose fuzzy elytra. I wonder if that's to help block heat, just like how plants would have like a fuzzy white tomentose epidermis to kind of act sort of like a natural sunscreen or a natural sun deterrent to stop the body of the organism from heating up too much in this hot, dry atmosphere. All right, let's let it go before I cook it inside of this container. There you go, homie. Oh, I got it. Oh, okay. Right here, there's a stick in there, but that's fine, that's fine. All right, right here was one I was looking at earlier too. This is a Hymenopteran, and it looks like it's in the family Megachilidae. So Megachilids, the common name are also known as mason bees or leaf cutting bees, and that refers to their ecology. They'll actually take pieces of leaves and pieces and, you know, chunks of soil, and they'll use it to build their hives out of. A lot of them are solitary, and a lot of them pretty much perform almost the exact same ecological function as the most popularly known honeybees. The only difference is that honeybees, they have their pollen carrying sacs on their legs, while as megachilid bees have the pollen, they carry the pollen on the ventral surface of their body and stuff. But they also, they produce honey, you know, and they do have hives. At least some species have hives. And yeah, they're very important pollinators to a lot of the native vegetation that can be found in the United States. Yeah, I don't know if you knew already, but honeybees, they're not native to the US. They're actually from Europe. And with the introduction of them, you know, for human purposes of trying to make honey and everything like that, a lot of them have outcompeted a lot of the native bee species. And a lot of those native bee species are within the family Megachilidae, just like this. Again, I don't know what species it is. I'm gonna have to look it up later and show you in the captions. But yeah, here you go. Just another example of a Hymenopteran that was found on that Senegalia. You get a slow-mo shot.